Hey everybody, welcome to the Plains People Podcast for July 1st. My name is Mark Gaviglio, and yeah, we're here to talk to Billy Schnase, who was the best man at my wedding, also been the producer for every episode up till now. If you're wondering why this conversation is going to feel a little more low-tech, is because it was the first one we recorded. We actually recorded it a couple months before we got all the other ones up, just kind of like a test run for what we thought the podcast is going to be. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. It's not going to be very exciting. I think it's a very personal conversation. I think a lot of good came from it. I learned a lot about my friend who I've had for a long time that I didn't know before. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed as much as I did. So, here you go. Billy Schnase, Plains People episode number 3. All right, how are you?
I'm doing all right. I just got off work.
A couple hours ago.
Yeah, a couple hours ago.
It's my day off, so I woke up, played Skyrim. No, I didn't play Skyrim right away. I went and ran errands right away because I had to run errands. So I went and got title on the car so we can get rid of the car because we bought a new car, and I went to the bank, ordered checks.
You did this on your bike?
No, I took Leslie's car. Well, my car now since we bought the new car.
Okay.
Anyways, so we're in the basement with Billy. This is the first ever recorded one. Who knows if it will ever be up? Well, if you guys know, if you heard it, it means it's gone up. So this is a test. So we're going to talk for a bit to see if this works out.
Sure.
So, William Schnase.
Yes.
You go by Billy.
I do.
Have you always gone by Billy?
Yep, since I was a baby.
Really? You never went with Bill?
I tried. When I was in junior high, I tried to get my teachers to call me Bill. I tried to get my friends to call me Bill. That just alerted my friends to the fact that my name was William, and they started calling me Billiam.
I mean, I understand where they went with that.
Yeah,
that makes
I
sense.
didn't like it, so I decided to just stick with Billy.
Stick with Billy?
Mm-hmm.
You never went with any of the... Because William is such a complex name because so many names can come out of William.
Right.
Because you could have 9 friends named William, and they all could be said something different. They could all be Bill, Billy, Will, William, Willie. All right, so only those. But it made me wonder what makes you stick with one of them. You know?
Just the fact that it's always been my name.
Mm.
Yeah.
So if you decided to go by Will one day, people would be like, what?
Well,
Will?
I'm moving to Texas in July, so I could just change my name when I
be
move.
Will Schnase.
Will or Bill. I like Bill more than Billy. I have an Uncle Bill.
I don't know a lot of Wills compared to Bills. Bills and Billies
I know
are
the most
everywhere.
Wills.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of Wills.
But if I also have an Uncle Bill who went by Billy when he was a kid, so
Okay.
I'd probably go with Billy or Bill. I'd probably go with Bill.
Bill?
Yeah. I'm more of a Bill than a Will anyway.
I guess I could see that. If you guys hear my cat attacking crap, it's because my cat is attacking crap. And trust me, if we try to kick him out of the room, it just gets worse.
Yeah.
So he could just attack crap.
He's the last one.
Yeah, butthole. Okay, so what are your... So you grew up in Fargo?
Yep.
North Fargo your whole life, where your parents live?
Yep. My folks have a house in North Fargo by the hospital.
Yeah.
And we've lived there since I was just under 1. We lived in a rental house before that, apparently.
So not a lot of memories of that.
No. No memories whatsoever about that. But we moved into the house when I was a little less than 1, and we've been remodeling that house ever since.
You've always had the same room?
Yep.
That's so weird.
Kind of, because my brother and I shared a room for the first, 8 or 9 years of my life. And then I spent a year in transition where I had a room, in the living room, pretty much. While our house is being remodeled. So no privacy whatsoever.
A year?
Yeah.
How old were you for that?
10, 11.
Okay, at least it wasn't 13, 14. That would have been the worst.
Yeah,
that would have been the worst time for that.
Privacy in the bathroom at all times. So.
Yeah, that's good.
But anyway, so I shared a room with my brother for the longest time, and then when we remodeled the second floor of our house, my sister's room and my brother and my room got sort of turned into one room, and part of it was taken up by my parents' walk-in closet.
Huh.
So I did eventually get my own room that was technically still the same room, but it was also my sister's room, and my sister moved into my mom's room.
So you did do a little bit of jumbling.
A little
bit. But I was the same house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The house grew.
My family's always, I didn't notice until I was old enough to realize what, a lease was. till I realized that my mom has never signed more than one lease at each house. Like, we moved every year.
Right.
Like, and it wasn't until I was an adult until I realized why. It's like, oh, she, a lot of landlords probably hate my mom. That's what I came up with.
Sure.
Okay, what do your parents do?
My mom and dad are both retired. They just sold their business about a year ago, and they're working on selling their house. And they, for the longest time, like 20 years, they ran a towing company out of Fargo. They did all the public towing for the police department in Fargo. My mom did the books and the accounting, and my dad was the manager and the owner of the company, so they were co-owners.
It's a pretty good gig.
Yeah,
right?
they made decent money.
They got a lot of people working under them, like a lot of different trucks.
They had like 4 trucks and a different driver for each shift.
Huh.
Yeah.
Towing. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah. I got people at school that would fucking come up to me and yell at me because their car got towed. That happened a couple times.
As if it's like you texting your dad, like, all right, it's a red Camry, get rid of him.
Exactly.
Made fun of me in study hall.
Right. Exactly.
That's dumb. People are dumb.
I got that a couple times. And there'd be people who would get in wrecks, and then my dad would tell me later that night, like, hey, I saw your classmate, I saw your friend. I'm like, that's not my friend. I don't fucking like that guy.
Tow him. Tow him twice.
Fucking
tow him again.
Double his charge. I don't care.
So your dad did the driving also?
Yeah, he did both.
So, yeah. So was it a passion for him? Of just like,
no,
or just... He's just stumbled upon that?
This is actually pretty interesting. My dad, when we were growing up, I asked him if he liked his job. And this is before he owned his own business. This was when I was like 6 when he worked for Champion Auto in Fargo.
So he was towing before he ran the towing?
Yeah.
Okay.
He also worked as a mechanic at Champion Auto.
Okay.
And Marcords. I'm not sure what the name of the company was, but I asked him if he liked what he does. And he said no. And I thought that was really bizarre. Like, why do you do it if you hate it so much? And he said, because I'm good at it. And he's like, that's why I went to school for mechanics, because I was good at it. And I became a mechanic because I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And it was a way I could support a family and support my wife.
It's that whole other side of the brain outlook of what you're going to do with your life, of a lot of people follow passions and other people follow practical.
And that's not always,
and that was practical.
That's not always smart to follow your passions.
No, it isn't at all.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
sometimes...
well, it could be if it pays off. But also it's not always smart to follow practical. If he suffered his whole life doing a job he hates and then all of a sudden he gets laid off and will never get a job again. He suffered his whole life doing a job he hates just not to be able to keep doing it. That would suck too.
Like if the job became obsolete.
Yeah. or something. Right. You know, but I mean, I always say work is supposed to not be fun because that's why you get paid. But at the same time, I don't say suffer no matter what. I always say make sure that you can handle it, be happy enough.
It's a manageable level.
Yeah, manageable level of stress.
Sure.
To for the pay. Like, I couldn't continue working in kitchens. I worked in kitchens for so long, and it made me insane.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
I worked retail for a very long time. I couldn't do that anymore.
But if they paid me what I make now at the factory in a kitchen and gave me long hours, it might be fine. But yeah, so all the, I think, hours and pay will knock down. But again, with what your dad was saying, it's very smart. He's good at it, which means he's going to be better at it than other people. And if you're good at it, you're going to make more money off it, and you're going to, succeed at it, which then in turn will make you happy.
Right, and it's totally in my blood to not want to work for anybody else, to be your own boss. Mm-hmm. Because my dad's dad owns his own farm, and he worked other jobs too, but his main job has always been taking care of the farm, raising cattle, growing the crops to feed the cattle. And my dad had that entrepreneurial itch. The towing business wasn't his first business either. He had a business in Martin, North Dakota.
Where's that?
It's near Harvey. It's between.
Where's Harvey?
Okay. Central North Dakota.
Okay.
McHenry County is where Animus is. That's where my folks are from. My grandparents' farm is like 10, 15 miles northwest of Animus, North Dakota, which is a tiny-ass town where my parents are moving to now that they've retired. And then to the east of there is Martin, and to the east of there is Harvey.
So are we talking like 100 people towns?
Yes.
Okay.
Very small towns. I think Animus is like 200 or 300. Harvey is a couple thousand.
How me and my wife break down town sizes is gas station town is literally just a gas station.
Like Lakota.
And then you've got subway towns of where either the subway's attached to the gas station or somewhere around there's a subway. Because I do feel like Subway and Dairy Queens are the first ones to move in.
Yep. Lakota is a Dairy Queen town. Michigan is a gas station town.
And
those are all
gas station towns are terrifying. There's literally like 3 people who know each other, and you're not one of them.
In Texas they have church towns.
Ooh, the church.
Yeah, not even where they just have a sign that says God didn't make any creature for no reason, but mosquitoes come close, like shit like that. Yeah,
got a point, I guess.
Yeah. I drove through a couple of those when I lived in Texas when I was first moving down there.
But yeah, I've always liked that I remember when Crosby Ironton moved up and got God, what was it? It was just a huge grocery stores when it got the bigger supermarket.
Yeah.
And we're all like, holy crap, I bet we're gonna get a McDonald's now. They didn't. Still don't have a McDonald's.
Yeah. It's the same thing with I think it's Drake in Central North Dakota. They've got a grocery store, but they don't have a Walmart or
anything. Yeah.
I think the nearest Walmart to Animus is in Minot.
So I cut you off. So in Martin was the name of the town?
Yeah.
Your dad had a job there before.
Yeah, he had a business called Schnase Garage.
Oh God.
And
that's his last name.
Schnase. That lasted for about a year or two, maybe.
How old was he here?
Oh shit!
This would be pre-you then, right?
Yes. This was when, right after my brother was born. My brother was a baby when they had Schnase.
He's what, 2 years older than you?
My brother? Yes. So
2
this
years.
would have been
That's what I thought.
88, 89.
All right.
And my dad would have been 24.
Trying to start his... Man, I'm 28 and I don't even start my own car.
Yeah.
I don't like doing anything.
I'm 27 and I'm trying to downsize.
Wait, did I say 28? I'm 29. I turned 29.
Yeah, you're going to be 30 next year.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's going to be ridiculous. But, no, God, I have so much respect for my parents, though. The amount of shit that they sacrificed for their kids and the amount of privilege that I had growing up was stupid. Every single member of my family had a car that my parents paid for.
Wow.
So my brother had a car, I had a car, my sister had a car. My parents each had a car.
But I even remember when you got that car. But you're not one of the guys who you noticed that you have that privilege.
Oh fuck yeah!
And that's what's very important.
Yeah.
Is the people who are like, what? Not everyone has their parents buy them a car. I took financial advice from my mom once, and I was in debt $5,000 to it. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
The one time she's like, "You should do this." I got a call from a freaking lawyer. And he's straight up like, dude, don't listen to your mom. That was a bad idea. Why are you doing that?
Yeah. My parents, I've come to realize in my old age at 27 that my folks are always right.
I never had that realization.
Yeah. I know that. For those of you who don't know, me and Mark know each other pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a good time to do an intro. 12 minutes in.
Why the fuck not?
Yeah. Billy was the best man at my wedding. He's helping me get... Co-best man. My brother was the other one. Helping me get a podcast running. And he's going to go to Texas. So I wanted to be... This was going to be my first one. But it's not going to be my first one recorded or published, if it ever... Whatever word it is. Sent out. It's not going to be my first one. But this is our test. But I didn't want to give it the... what do you call it? The try? The... old college try. We give it the old college try. So that's why we're doing this. But I am actually learning about you.
You're a really big fan of these types of podcasts.
I love these podcasts.
Yeah, you listen to Bill Burr and
and Mark Maron's. Mark Maron's a big one for me. As much as I don't love, Maron's fine. Don't get me wrong, but he's not if you told me to come up with my favorite living stand-ups. I don't think he'd be my top 10.
No, absolutely.
But I love this.
I know him is because of Louis.
Yeah, and because of their feud that he brought into
the show,
which is great. One of my favorite jokes. I'm going to butcher it because I can't find it. I've heard him say it a couple times, but it was him, Mark Maron, talking about Louis. I got nothing against Louis C.K. I just wish he didn't name his show "Fuck You, Mark Maron." Love that joke because it tells you so much about his jealousy issues and how he completely is okay with them. But yeah, it's this long form interview style that is life collecting, which is something that's always very interesting because these are things no one ever will talk about.
Right.
You'll go 5 years before you bring up your past with somebody, which is fine. It's not you don't need it at the bank. You don't need to talk. You know, it's not something you need to bring up. And most people don't care.
Sure.
You know, and I care. I find even when I was listening to his podcast, it wasn't even the people I loved were, of course, some interesting, but a lot of the interesting ones were guys who just I never really cared for, but they just had more interesting upbringing.
Sure.
Like, Artie Lang is by far the best interview.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because
I love Artie Lang on Howard Stern.
Yeah. But him talking about how he got that, about how when he went downhill,
drinking
about
bleach.
To kill himself, but about him, like, you know, cocaine in the morning to get going at Howard Stern and then heroin at night to go to sleep. Like, shit like that is the most interesting stuff.
And I don't mean to get too insider baseball on it, but you're not going to find that shit in Fargo.
No, I'm not. And that's the point though, is I really did just want to talk to people around here because I do feel like there's a lot of interesting shit happening. And I find interesting stuff in people's lives.
Right.
Just period.
And it's not just interesting, it's also identifiable.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's insider baseball shit, like talking about, hey, we're making a podcast, this is why.
Yeah.
But, no, at Fargo, there's a lot of universal qualities that I don't think people realize exist here.
No, I recently, and this wasn't even tied into the podcast, I was just Googling up where we are as a population of this state of North Dakota. And
we're still under 1 million.
Yeah, but where we are ranked with everybody else, Wyoming's under us, and like one other state's under us.
Rhode Island, I think.
No, Rhode Island's big per capita because it's one big city.
Yeah, but it's still population total. It's under us.
I think they weren't.
Really?
Actually, I think we're under. I think Providence has more people than North Dakota.
Holy fuck.
North Dakota's small. I mean, when you think our biggest city is smaller than most people's third biggest. Anyway, so I was just looking things up, and I did want that thing. If anyone outside of Fargo were to listen to a podcast about people in Fargo, it would really show you how diverse people are here.
Sure.
And just going downtown Fargo, you see the diversity of this
right,
place.
and you and I have both lived out of state, so you know what it's like to run into somebody like, oh, you're from North Dakota? Are you thinking Arby's?
I went to a wedding, and I was wearing trip pants. I was wearing trip pants to a wedding, and I had a chainmail tie. I had a mohawk, chainmail tie, trip pants.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me where I was from. I said, Fargo, North Dakota. And he looked at me dead in the eyes and said, fresh off the farm, huh? Like, what? I'm wearing trip pants to a wedding.
Right?
Are you fucking kidding me? So, yeah.
No, I had similar experiences in Texas.
Yeah.
I played my own mother in a web series. Because my character in the web series was from North Dakota. I'm an actor, by the way. And my character in the web series was from North Dakota. And I played my own mother on the phone because I didn't have the accent naturally.
Yeah.
So they were like, can you put on the accent and pretend to be your mom, and we'll just do a sound recording for the phone? So it was like, oh, yeah, Billy, you got to come home.
Which, of course, your mom doesn't sound like that.
Oh, fuck no.
And I love that stereotype.
Sounds like a little closer to that than I do, but not nearly. Not even that.
I'm going to click pause so I can go grab beer and keep my phone charging. So, okay, got more beer, and we should be good. All right, and where were we? I don't know where we were. Let's jump. Let's jump back.
Sure.
Oh, burp. So, your dad had a mechanic. He was a mechanic and opened up a garage in Martin, North Dakota.
Yeah, super small town. Not a good place to start a business.
Yeah, I could guess
rural
that
North
too.
Dakota. So my parents moved to Fargo because there was work here. My mom started out working, I think, at a convenience store or something.
Was she around the same age of?
My parents are the same age.
Okay.
Yeah. They have
So they're both like mid-20s right now.
Yeah.
in the story?
Right.
I know right now they're not.
Yeah. No, they're 24, 25, somewhere in there
Okay.
before I'm born. They moved to Fargo. My dad gets a job working at Champion Auto as a mechanic and like retail selling auto parts. And my mom is working at some kind of store. She eventually becomes a daycare person. She runs her own daycare out of our house. I'm born.
Yeah.
My dad gets a different job, and then my sister's born. My mom's still running daycare.
And how old's your sister?
She's
Years
2
younger?
years younger than me.
So
yeah.
2 year, 2 year, 2
Yep.
year. That's what
Yep.
my parents did too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, yeah, my brother's 4 years older. My sister's 2 years, and then I'm the same age as me.
Oh, Marshall's the oldest.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no one knows that.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have thought Maddie was the oldest.
I get that a lot. I also get me being the oldest a lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
When I was living with a girlfriend who had a kid, and I worked at Speakeasy, I had a crappy beard, but I grew my beard out a little bit. My brother was already working there, and my brother was, we were doing about the same thing. He was day prepping, I was night prepping. And we were switching out. So we're both prep cooks. I think he went on the line a little bit, but either way, the job sucked. But anyways, somebody made the reference of like, how much older are you than Marshall? It's like, I'm not. I'm the youngest. He goes, youngest? Like, yeah, like my sister, it's my brother and my sister, me, and they're like, dude, we all thought it was you, your sister, and then like a couple years more. Like, what? Like, apparently they guessed I was like pushing 30 then.
Yeah, and you were like 24,
like,
25.
I was 23. Yeah, I was young, but
that was right after I turned 21 because it was before I moved to Texas.
Yep.
Yeah,
and that was right. That was the year I lived here. Moved back from college and was here a year before I started the life I have now.
Sure.
And it was literally an entire year of like kitchen and like horrible couple girlfriends. And then I met my now wife, and I'm working at the job I'm working now about a year after I moved back.
Right.
So throughout that year was a crap year.
Yeah.
That was my last crap year. I'm
glad
that's
the year we became friends.
Yeah. Because we were both having such a crap year.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Enough about us. Well, enough about me interviewing you. So let's get off your parents a little bit.
Okay.
What elementary school did you go to?
Roosevelt.
And you did?
Yep. I know you went there for like a year.
1 year.
Yeah.
My fourth grade, which you would have been in third grade. I was there an entire year.
Didn't you get held back?
Yeah, this would be the year I got held back.
Okay.
So I did a fourth grade in Horace Mann, and it just wasn't working out. I didn't have any friends. It was really bad. And the teacher hated me, and I hated the teacher. And my mom thought it was a good idea, and she kind of like said it as a joke, and I was like, yeah, let's just do it. And it ended up being really a good thing, because I don't know what it was, and I'm not going to throw in some bogus thing of age,
right?
But it was literally just the people who were a year younger than me I hooked with a lot quicker. And even with people in Roosevelt, the guys I met with in Roosevelt, I was friends with up till they all became druggies and dropped out in high up to beginning of high school.
Right.
So even when we all went back to the melting pot of junior high, I was friends with them again.
Sure.
And those were the Roosevelt kids. So I can't remember the teacher I had in Roosevelt, though. I can't remember her name.
It was a her?
It was a her.
Third grade?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade.
And she younger.
O'Mara.
Maybe. I wanted to say there was a G in there.
Well, when I was in fourth grade at Roosevelt, there was Eisendorf and O'Mara.
Maybe it was O'Mara. Was she younger?
No.
Okay, well, this is a younger.
She wasn't younger.
I throw into 30s. It was the one I had.
No. I don't know who was there when you were there.
Dang it. Well, maybe I'm just creating a person.
Well, you know what's interesting is I actually think of my elementary school years in terms of video games. I remember my early years being with Super Nintendo, which came out when I was born, but we didn't get it until I was 3.
We played it forever. Yeah, and I think you were in the same. When everyone else was already playing. We were It Ain't Broke, Don't Fix It.
Right.
We were,
well, the N64 came out when I was 6 in like the spring, so we didn't get it.
I never got an N64.
Really?
Yeah, I played my friends. Like when I was in fourth grade, I had a guy named Adam Talley who was actually in our high school. he had like 007 and Harvest Moon and all these other games and Pokemon Snap.
Sure.
And he actually gave me. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. Actually, I will. He at an airport. This is pre 9/11. Stole a Game Boy from somebody.
Oh shit!
And he knew his parents would know about the Game Boy, and he gave it to me along with a Pokemon Gold. And that's how I got my first Pokemon game.
That's awesome.
And then I eventually picked up Yellow and replayed through Yellow.
God, kids are such shits.
I know. And this was my 4th grade in Roosevelt. This all happened that. But yeah, that's when I got into Pokemon hardcore.
Sure.
And here's an actual question for you. This is just relating to this. Revert back to when you're old, this age. So Adam, my neighbor, was a couple years older than me, and we were both, Star Wars, Pokemon, and Legos. And I remember trying to bring toys over to his house. And he would be like, dude, you brought those outside? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, aren't you, like, weirded out if somebody sees you with toys? I was like, no. And
did you live by the Ridge?
Yeah, I lived in the Ridge 1 year.
Okay, the Ridge is the bad neighborhood.
One of the bad neighborhoods.
Yeah,
the bad
Fargo,
neighborhoods
North
that have
Dakota,
kids. Yeah. But yeah, we lived. This would be outside the Ridge, in between University and 25th, like 2nd Avenue North area.
Yeah.
Where like my former stepdad lives now.
Sure.
That kind of area.
It's weird because the neighborhood I lived in, even the kids from shitty homes would still return toys if you lent them to them.
That's funny.
My parents' neighborhood has gone completely to shit since then. But when I was a kid, there were super ghetto kids.
Yeah,
you would loan them toys.
Even the friends with. I had a friend who lived a block from you. Who was a super ghetto kid.
Yeah,
yeah,
and
I was more ghetto.
Yeah, there was a family from Egypt that was super ghetto when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I would lend one of their kids, his name was Muhammad.
Yeah.
I'd lend him a toy. He would return it the next day.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This wasn't the fucking Ridge.
In
the Ridge, your toy's gone. Bye.
I'm not gonna start representing different neighborhoods. Representing the Ridge. We did have we lived in Romkey Park before the Ridge.
Oh shit, Moorhead.
Yeah, during that time, during like 97.
Yeah.
When I was in the 2nd grade, 97.
Oh, the flood of 97.
Right after, it would have been right after the flood.
Oh, damn.
So 98.
Okay.
So that we moved in literally right after the flood is when we moved to Fargo.
Yeah.
So
for those of you who don't know.
Yeah, Fargo had a huge flood in 97.
Sandbagging, fucking homes destroyed, everything.
Yeah.
It was the worst. I remember when I was a kid, I was in kindergarten at the time, I think, or 1st grade, and I had an allowance of $2, and I would ask, my mom would give me that allowance in quarters, and I would take that up to the fucking courtesy counter at the local grocery store, and I'd ask for a $2 bill, because I don't fucking know. There's, $2 bills aren't a thing. I don't know that.
They are just not at the currency counter.
Right, exactly. They give you $2 in ones.
So going back to what my story was, what I was going to ask was,
right.
Do you remember the age that you were where you had to be ashamed of playing with toys?
Oh, shit.
Because I had it for a second, in 3rd grade, I felt weird. And then,
I think the last time I got toys was, I was 13 or 14. I was pretty old.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You were still getting toys for Christmas and stuff?
I was a weird faggy 14-year-old though who was really into Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I know when I was 11 or 12 I got a Harry Potter action figure. I think that might be the last toy I ever got.
Harry Potter action figure?
Yeah. Before that it was Before that it was after that it was fucking CDs and DVDs and electronics.
DVDs was a big one that everyone gave everybody for Christmas. It's funny with me with toys was there was a bit where I didn't really own anything for a long time. I was a minimalist, even growing up, in junior high and high school, because I just would play with everybody else's stuff. Right. But once I got older and I could afford things, I gravitated right to buying toys again. just because I loved it.
There's like a 15 or 20 year gap where you don't get any toys.
Yeah,
and then you start buying toys for yourself.
You're 21 and you're like, it's not the same reason.
Right.
But especially Legos. I can afford a $100 Lego now.
Right.
So I do it, and then the cat destroys them, so that's why our Legos aren't up.
And I sold you all of my Harry Potter Legos.
Yeah, and we had them displayed for a while.
Yeah.
Until the cat destroyed them all. Yeah.
I was walking through a Toys R Us when I was like 20 or 21.
Yeah.
And I bought a Nerf sword.
Nice.
Because I always wanted... So I grew up with a friend who was into boffer fighting, which is... it's a PVC pipe covered in foam and duct tape.
Yeah, like LARPing, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
LARPing does that.
Yeah, LARPing is... Yeah, people who LARP do this, but this was part of the Society for the Creative Acronym. The SCA. And so I always grew up with this friend, and we would sword fight growing up, just like with these padded swords.
Yeah.
And so I really loved that growing up. And we were walking around Toys R Us, and they had this sale on Nerf items, and they had a fucking Nerf sword that was basically the same thing for like $10.
Yeah.
So I picked up this two-handed Nerf sword for $10.
Nice.
Yeah.
I remember when this is in that year we were talking about earlier, but when I was living with this girl, we spent so much money that we didn't have on plastic lightsabers. And this is like pre, the resurgence of Star Wars.
Oh shit, I got those when I was like 12.
Yeah, well, I had them when I was a kid, and I didn't have any in college, and then literally in this house, we had like 4 or 5. There was just 2 adults and one like baby. Like, why do we need 4 lightsabers? And the funny thing is now, I'm looking back, like, why don't I now? Like, I got a Kylo Ren somewhere, but that's it. Like,
fucking Kylo Ren's lightsaber is stupid.
No.
Yes.
No.
Kylo Ren's lightsaber is
cross-guard lightsaber is awesome.
Cross-guard, more like just like a cross in general, if you're into Jesus and shit.
Yeah, cross-guard lightsaber is awesome. It's a proto-lightsaber, okay? It was exhaust ports. It's what they needed back then because I couldn't figure out.
Because he didn't know how to build a lightsaber because he's stupid.
His crystal was cracked.
Yeah, because he used a cracked crystal because he's an idiot.
Yeah, because it was awesome.
No, because he's dumb.
It's more power.
No, it's not more power.
It is. It gives you more damage.
It gives you fucking the
I'm
ability
going role-playing stats right now.
Fucking
okay.
Finn in the shoulder.
Yeah. Finn. Anyways.
FN288.
Yeah. FN. Why did they call him Finn enough?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right.
So
it's gonna be way harder.
I'm gonna rein
to talk to an actual friend about trying to interview a friend.
We're gonna rein it back in.
Okay.
We're talking about elementary school. We're talking about video games. One thing I did want to mention: when I was like 4 or 5, my brother wanted a Sega Genesis.
Yeah, we had one for a bit. Ours broke. Because they break easy.
Oh, yeah. My brother fucking shattered ours, but that's not part of the story.
Somebody, and I'm not going to say who, threw one of our Super Nintendos at another person in the house. There was only one adult in the house. But anyways,
we did that too.
They felt bad after it broke and got us our second Nintendo.
See, okay, I can tell that story too. But our Super Nintendo got whipped across the room many times. Well, it's fine. But the Sega Genesis, my brother smashed with a controller and broke it. But he was playing Mortal Kombat and he lost, but that's...
It makes sense.
But, okay, chronologically,
okay,
let's talk about the Super Nintendo. My brother and I, and my whole family, we went to Oklahoma City in 1994 to visit my aunt and uncle there and their kids. And my cousin, who is 10 years older than me, had a Sega Genesis. He's like exactly 10 years older than me.
Yeah.
And my brother fucking fell in love with the Sega Genesis after seeing Sonic and Knuckles and Decap Attack.
Oh.
And so he convinced my parents to sell our Super Nintendo in a garage sale.
I'm going to start asking guests to turn their sounds off.
Yeah, that sounds good, doesn't it?
I think you just invented the first rule.
Yeah.
Sounds good. You can get the vibrate, but...
So... my brother convinced my parents to sell our Super Nintendo at garage sale. And my parents sold it to our friend's mom, and we weren't allowed to talk about it because it was, like, awkward for some reason. Yeah, I don't fucking know what that's about.
Wait, did the friend's mom lie and say she bought it for good? Was it like a weird Chucky doll situation?
She like bought at the store.
Yeah, is that like that's what I'm saying. That's what you can talk about.
Yeah.
That's
so like
some back
we had to like
shit.
hang out with our friends who were playing our Super Nintendo and not talk about it.
Be like, oh yeah, no, that button sticks. Don't ask me how I know that.
Sure. And my friend who
you're blowing it all wrong.
Yeah.
See there.
My friend who was playing the Super Nintendo is now dead, so we can talk about that another time too.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I grew up with this like deep love for Nintendo. My brother fucking sold off our Super Nintendo for a Sega Genesis, and we eventually did get a Nintendo 64.
Yeah, okay.
But I always longed for that Super Nintendo
again.
back.
Yeah, because you always want to replay Super Mario World.
Exactly. Mega Man X.
Oh, you got... See, I wish I could have gotten the Mega Man when I was a kid because I feel so left out on that. Because I never, ever touched Mega Man as a kid, and it's literally a giant gap. Not as big as my Doctor Who or my Star Trek gap, but it's a pretty big gap in my geek culture.
My favorite video game of all time is a tie.
Okay.
Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo.
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man X for the Super Nintendo.
I got so many. I always like to think of the ones that I played so much with, like, the original Tony Hawk's and things like that.
Well,
but
okay.
If you bring back if you bring up Pokemon, it's got to be considered my favorite because I've literally,
especially Gold and Silver.
Yeah, Gold and Silver. I logged so many hours into those games. Even recently, I still
play Nuzlocke.
I still play Nuzlocke.
Yeah,
I get Heart Gold, and Soul Silvers just because it's better graphics, same game.
Yeah.
Very close to the same game.
Better move sets too.
Yeah, in new move, that's the only big change.
Sure.
But yeah, where were we? Yeah, I just had to say Pokemon, man.
Right.
And I always got to go back to that, no matter how many hours I put into. But if you look back at the old schools. I'm gonna throw 5 games at you and see which ones you played when you were a kid.
Okay.
Final Fight.
No.
You never played any of the Final Fights? It's like one of the
best now, but not when I was
best
a kid.
What do they call them? Brawlers?
Not when I was a kid.
Best brawlers. Okay. I'm coming over them on the spot. Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh yeah.
You got a big relationship with Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
Since I was like 4.
I went back to it in college. Still holds up.
Oh yeah,
I still completely.
Oh god, the
up.
fucking Jason with the chainsaw.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Any of the Mega Mans?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, love me some Mega Man. No, oh, sorry. You know the Mega Mans. Any of the Bombermans?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Bomberman for the Game Boy Color.
I think we had an emulator for one in high school.
Oh god, emulators.
Yeah, we got an emulator for one in high school called for 2X. And I'm not sure if it was the second one or what, but it was the best one. And we played, like, we called Tuesdays Bomberman days for like an entire year. Me and a friend, we had controllers for his computer, and we'd sit at his computer in his kitchen. We'd have people over because there was a good gap of a couple hours where there was no parents.
Yeah, between 3 and 5.
Yeah. I think it was till like 6 or 7.
Yeah. My folks got off work at 6, so we had 3 to 6 to ourselves.
Yeah, that's good. All right, I feel like we're spending a lot of time
on childhood. Yeah, sure.
Big questions. Were you? What do they call it? Parachute parenting? Did they
hover parents?
Or did they give you pretty good free reign?
Oh God, no!
I had hardcore free reign.
My parents were super free reign.
Yeah.
The first time I saw Terminator, I was literally 4.
What about, like, letting you out of the house to, like, bike around the neighborhood for...
It depends, really. My parents were kind of weird about that.
Oh, yeah?
Like, some days they were, like, don't go out. Some days they were like, oh, you're going to bike all the way to North High School's pool? Do it.
Yeah.
Like, it was really weird.
I would bike from, like, over near Horse Man, where we live, to the mall.
Yeah.
To West Acres.
I was never allowed to bike.
I would bike
that far.
All the way across town.
My parents were kind of a combination of like hover parents, helicopter parents, and like completely free range.
That's the term, helicopter.
Yeah, because my folks would randomly decide I'm the parent, so I say so. And to me, at the time, made no sense.
Well, it's still... I always challenged that as a kid. I was always like, hey, I'm okay with you making the decision. Tell me logically how you got there. I mean, of course, I wouldn't be able to say that sentence when I was a kid, but that's what it was in my head.
Exactly.
Which is why I always had the problem with authority. When a teacher's like, dude, you can't put that in your mouth, be like, is it toxic? Is it going to kill me? or do you just not want me doing something?
Right.
Which one is it? And
Right.
I always had that
I had the same problem.
Yeah. Fucking adults.
But, like, my folks, like, they'd let me watch or view almost anything.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly, it's only until I got to be, like, old enough to know really what I was watching that they started
back in.
Yeah.
My parents,
I was never allowed to watch South Park.
We are always on South Park. I remember when it first came out, I watched my stepdad at the time, Chris. They never got married, but Chris watched it right when it came out, like the second. And the first episode I watched was when they were first coming out, and it was the first episode I ever watched was when they go with Jimbo and Ned hunting. Okay. It's like episode 3.
They're coming right at us.
It's coming right at us.
Yeah.
And we're a Simpsons family. We're a South Park family.
Sure. I'm the only person in my family who ever watched South Park.
Oh, loved it all. But in the funny thing about that is people talking crap about that. A lot of the values that I consider very good values, I learned from early South Park. Like, it's okay to be gay.
Right.
South Park taught me that.
Right.
Like, you know, like a lot of
white
those
people and black people are the same.
Are the same? Yeah. Of it's okay to show somebody being hanged as long as there's a black guy doing it too.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff. Early South Park taught me.
Sure.
You know why? Because it ain't taught in schools, and because parents don't talk to kids.
Right.
So yeah, we had to learn it somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah, but
no, I would say that Matt Parker Matt
Stone and Trey Parker.
Yeah. I would say they're actually some of the best role models you could have.
Oh yeah,
growing up.
Yeah, like
because like everything,
kids can wade through dick and fart jokes.
Right.
Yeah,
and
they
they make shitty fucking anal sex jokes and shit.
Yeah.
But like at the core of it,
there's always good lessons.
Exactly.
Yeah, even though they didn't always stand behind them, they kind of just did them because
I'd be really interested to see if somebody could edit together just a clip of like Kyle talking about what he learned
their life lessons.
Yeah,
that would be good.
That because you can show that to any kid, and like fucking set them up for life essentially.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, other than the fact that he's Jewish, but...
Alright, okay.
I'm not anti-Semitic.
Yeah, he's making a joke.
I love the Jews.
That's another problem with friends is whenever I'm like, say a bad joke! Don't say a bad joke. Okay, we'll move a little past childhood. So you went to Roosevelt, then you went to Ben.
Yep. That's where I got into the theater. I
was about to bring up theater. So the first thing you acted in, was it the first thing I acted in?
Nope.
It wasn't.
Nope, I was in Sketch Comedy Tonight, 7th grade. That wasn't even my first thing, though.
That Sketch Comedy Tonight was, that's when Stuart Capistran did the really good Chris Farley, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
In a van down by the river!
No, he's like a super skinny model in the cities now.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he looks good.
Hey, shout out to Stuart Capistran.
Yeah, what's up, Capistran?
Tag him.
Yeah, I remember as a kid he looked like an adult Drew Carey. We were friends in like the 5th, 6th grade.
Yeah, that wasn't actually my first play, though.
Oh, was it?
My first play was 6th grade. I had an amazing teacher at Roosevelt named Mrs. Marr, who loved to carry a tradition of having the 6th graders put on a play.
Okay.
So my first play was called The Hillbillies versus the Robots.
Oh, God.
Yep.
Jeez.
And I played a doctor. Or, no, wait. Shit, no. I played the army sergeant who was like a sexist asshole.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about shaping shaping adulthood.
But at Ben, with William Lucas.
Yep.
An amazing teacher we both
Great
had.
Bill Lucas.
Huge fan.
Yeah.
He's probably going to listen to this if we put it on publicly.
Hopefully.
No, he will.
I that's somebody I'm hoping to snag. That's one of my 10 people that are super high up on my list of snagging.
But anyway, I played, it was a sketch from SNL where Chris Kattan and Will Ferrell were in it, and Molly Shannon, I think, was in it, and it was a karate infomercial.
Okay.
Where Chris Kattan held up a board and Will Ferrell tried to chop it in half and broke his hand, and he chased Chris Kattan around saying like, "Oh, I broke my hand. You fucking held up a fake board, and it should have been the other one." Yeah, it was a lame sketch.
No, it sounds like an early 2000s SNL sketch.
It does, doesn't it? Or late 90s.
Yeah, not very good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that was
Chris Kattan was your pull.
Yeah, I was Chris Kattan for a hot minute. But we met doing our fucking production of The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, Wizard of Oz. We
non-musical version.
We met around the school beforehand. I know, yeah.
I thought you and I got to know each other during the Wizard
No,
of Oz.
we got to know each other, but I already knew who you were. I've talked to you before Wizard of Oz.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't remember that
well,
at all.
I don't know how you couldn't. I'm a very memorable person. But yeah, Wizard of Oz is probably where we got the most dialogue in. And it sucked because we both had, it was great, Phil Lucas found a really good way of, the people who had a passion for theater, put them in the smaller parts.
Well, yeah, but also...
It's hard to read at that time.
Thing, because I was in 8th grade at the time.
Yeah.
And our junior high was 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, or we're 7, 8, 9.
And so half of the 8th graders went to the 9th grade cast, half of the 8th graders went to the 7th grade cast.
Yes, yeah.
And I got paired with the 9th graders, which is where you were.
Yeah, which is where I was. And we both had very small parts. You were, correct me if I'm wrong, I was going to say, correct me if I'm wrong, you're an uncle. And I killed it as guard number 2, and I owned it, and I had so many people walking up and asking for my autograph when, the frickin' Dorothy and her merry men didn't get any autographs. Guard number 2 stole the show. Fuck you. I still hold a grudge. I wanted Scarecrow. I did.
Yeah, why didn't you ever go, whole hog into theater?
Actors.
Because they're douchebags?
Yeah, well, honestly, it was...
You don't have to name names.
No. It wasn't people. It was... I didn't like that it was a pop... I didn't like that it seemed that... Maybe it was just my perception, but it seemed that literally high school popularity and politics went into casting. And that's how I perceived it. Which is where I looked and I was like, those guys are talented people. But it's not like all of high school politics, but there was always 4 or 5 people who got the top 3 regardless of what they did. Can I ask you
a question?
I'm not going to say names.
No, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But did you think I was popular in high school?
You got a lot of good parts.
Yeah, was I popular?
No, I'm saying strictly in the theater wise.
Right.
Yeah, you were popular when it comes to the theater.
No.
In my perception, when you would list the 10 actors who are going up for parts and are getting the good ones, you, specific family, and 4 other people always got the top 3 good billings.
Sure, but even in the theater department, I wasn't popular.
But no one liked anybody. We all backstabbed each other, and that's why I hated that.
No, literally nobody liked me.
Yeah, but I don't like anybody.
And that's
everyone's against me.
Friends
I'm against everyone. Yeah, no, and that was it. That's honestly because I love acting. I really don't like actors.
Right.
So if you could be like, hey, I'm going to direct this show, show up during rehearsal, blah, 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 blah. You don't have to deal with anybody. I'd be like, sweet. Perfect. That's it. And I went out for a lot of parts, but...
Yeah, I remember that.
But I would back out when I wouldn't get the ones I would like.
You didn't do, fucking Trollwood, which is...
No, I never did Trollwood, but...
Trollwood is this big, summer high school theater.
A lot of that is I was working during the summer.
Yeah.
And that's where most of it went down.
Because a lot of kids didn't have to work, and you did.
Yeah, and I had to work during the summer. Not only that, but you know how anything growing up... This isn't a pity party. This is just how it was. Anytime growing up where you're like, hey, I want to go out for blah, blah, blah. Here's a permission sheet. Can you give me $20? That was never something my mom would do. Right. I wouldn't get... $15 wouldn't be given to me.
Right.
It just... I'm not saying she's a horrible mom or anything. I'm just saying... If it was, Mom, I want to do this, can I have money for it? It was always, I don't know if she literally would say no, or it might still, at this point, I'm now thinking if it was my perception of maybe she said no once or twice as a kid, and I just never wanted to ask.
Right.
And that might have been what it was, is maybe she could have, but that's why I never went out for Trollwood. That's why I never went out for any extracurricular
was expensive
activity.
when I was a kid.
Yeah. And that was another thing, is I knew it was spendy.
It was like
I went out for Straw Hat. At one point.
Did you really?
Yeah, but it was just sending in a picture and sending in something else, and they were supposed to contact me
for an audition.
And it never happened.
But was that when you were still in high school?
Yeah, it was 15 or 16.
Okay.
Yeah.
They have I went to MSUM, so I know the Straw Hat program really well. Straw Hat is a summer professional theater program that's usually reserved for MSUM theater students They also include a high school internship program, and they also include an outside hire program where they'll hire people from other colleges.
Yeah.
And so you must have been going for the internship program.
I must have.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I didn't know that was an option when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So I never applied for it.
Because I knew a couple of people who did them in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, somebody we knew was in a play.
Yeah, for Straw Hat.
No, that wasn't for Straw Hat, though.
Oh.
That was for the regular theater season. Because at the time, they allowed high schoolers to audition for the theater season. Now they don't do that.
Okay.
And I went to that college for a theater major, so I know all this stuff.
Yeah. Let's speed.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about high school.
Yeah. Well, I think we breached into high school a little bit.
Sure. Do you want to talk about college?
I just got a very important question. Why did you want to be on stage? At all?
Man, I'm the middle child, man.
Is that it?
I guess. I don't know.
Because my sister's middle child, and you can never get her on the stage.
She
likes to cook.
I've been psychoanalyzed by many fucking college psych majors. I'm doing air quotes for that. Yeah, for some reason, when I was a kid, I just always wanted to be the center of attention. I always wanted to be an actor. I was obsessed with cartoons. I was obsessed with movies. When I was 4 years old, I decided I wanted to be an actor because I was obsessed with Bugs Bunny, and I saw Space Jam.
You know that he's not acting, right?
Yeah, I know. Well, when I was 4 years old,
it's not an actual.
When I was 4 years old, I saw Space Jam, and I was like, man, I want to be in a movie with Bugs Bunny someday. And that's when I decided I wanted to be an actor.
That's such a weird. I love it though. That's such a weird.
Have you not heard that story?
No, I never heard that.
Really?
No. Here I got a follow up. This is just what it reminds me of.
Okay.
Dan Bull, who does rapping on YouTube for video games. Dan Bull. Have you heard this?
Yes, I've heard this. He learned to be a rapper because
from a Mel Brooks movie from Robin Hood Men in Tights when they rap for like 3 seconds. That's the first time. So he's a white guy from Britain. First time he's ever heard a rap. That's from a Mel Brooks movie, and that's why he's rapping now.
Yeah, and he's
Love
great.
That. Yeah, he's a very good rapper.
He's insane.
Very good.
But yeah, so that's what. When I was 4 years old, I decided I wanted to be an actor.
Mm-hmm.
And I waited and waited and waited. Had never heard of Fargo Moorhead Community Theater.
Yeah.
So my first opportunity that I knew of to be an actor was in my 6th grade play.
Yeah, and then you got it.
Right.
You nailed it.
Yeah,
Take
sure. I was also in a boys' choir growing up, learning how to sing, and I got to do a little bit of performing stuff.
See, that's another thing. I never would. I can't sing. And that's one thing that really took me out of a lot of the plays because so many of them are musicals.
Yeah,
and I can't
in rural North Dakota or even urban North Dakota where we live, which is fucking stupid.
Yeah,
to say out loud.
It is the biggest city in North Dakota.
Yeah, it is. It's even bigger than the capital.
Yeah,
which is Bismarck. For those of you who don't know. But yeah, musicals are the biggest draw for audiences, so most places do musicals. It's gotten a little bigger since then, and it's changed a little bit since then, but still, musicals are the biggest draw, and they sell the most tickets.
Yeah.
So,
but since You Can Sing gave you that opening to those,
right?
Where I can't sing. I sing like an amputee. You know, can't carry a note, can't hold a tune.
Yeah.
I love that joke. That's a Bloodhound Gang joke. But also, I really liked... drinking and breaking shit in high school, which took me. That was my extracurricular activity. Was knocking over porta potties and putting in fireworks where they don't belong.
Right.
And so that's why I was busy. I was driving around in my buddy's car, knocking over shit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, how come we didn't go for this play? Well,
I was like goody two shoes trying to get into like a prestigious college.
Yeah. Hey.
So I didn't do shit in high school.
I know it sucked. It's like, they should give punk music should just be a class in high school just to show people. All right,
I listened to punk music. I just didn't do anything.
Yeah, you just didn't punk it up.
Yeah, I just wasn't a punk.
It was knocking over snowmen and breaking pumpkins was literally like.
Oh, I did that shit.
Was like a yearly tradition where we would get in a car with like 6 of us and run around.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, I was in the point of mind with a friend that I grew up with where if we walked by a snowman, we'd probably knock its head off.
Yeah.
If we walked by a jack-o'-lantern, we'd probably kick it in.
We would have 2 cars driving around next to each other. One car would stop. And then everyone would make eyes, and you'd run out, and the first one to get to it, knock it over, and then run back in.
Did you ever go leaf bag kicking?
No.
Yeah, we did that.
Well, that was tied in with pumpkin smashing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See, if we were trick-or-treating and we walked by any of those like tacky orange garbage bags where they had like the jack-o'-lantern face painted on them, because when we were kids, this was a big thing.
Yeah.
A lot of adults would buy the big orange grocery garbage bags that had the jack-o'-lantern face painted on them.
Mm-hmm.
They'd fill their leaves in that and leave them out during the winter or during the fall, during like Halloween,
yeah.
And we would be trick or treating, and then we would fucking shove our shoe into them and create a hole. My mom caught me doing that once, and I got in a shit ton of trouble.
I bet.
Yeah.
She's one of those nice ladies.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's how you got into it. Would you say that it was so you'd say it was the attention of wanting the attention from being the middle kid?
Probably.
In
guess.
Getting or not getting parts you wanted that didn't turn you down 100%. You just knew it was just what was up. Or did you? Or were you one of those guys where the guy who got your part, you're like, that guy sucks, regardless of how good they were?
No, it's a combination, really. How do I put this? So I grew up wanting attention as a middle child, and I never really felt fulfilled by it. I was also kind of an ugly kid. And
all kids were ugly. I'll tell you right now, you were middle of the road. You were fine.
Thanks.
Dude, I think I was ugly.
I also developed into liking girls really early.
Yeah, well, me too.
Super early.
Me too.
So I was like in kindergarten chasing after girls.
Yeah, me too.
And I didn't realize I was ugly until like 2nd or 3rd grade.
First girl I ever told I loved was I was in 1st grade, and I had
kindergarten.
Yeah, all right. I kissed a girl in kindergarten.
So did I.
But no, I had runny nose all the time, which you even remember throughout high school probably. I have a boogery nose.
Yeah.
I'm a very boogery guy.
You're a booger man.
Yeah, I'm a very boogery man. And I never get sick.
You're a booger man.
There you go, I'm a booger man. But I never get sick, and that's probably why. I got such a good immune system that it's just leaking out of me. But I remember seeing a girl who besides this memory, I've never seen her ever. This was back in Brainerd. I was in 1st grade. This is in Lincoln Elementary.
Sure.
And I saw a girl with boogers, and I told her I loved her because we shared. We're both boogery.
Yeah.
And you know what? She called me a freak and ran away. And that was it. That was the first time I ever told a girl I loved. And I
had a girlfriend in kindergarten. I had a girlfriend in 1st grade.
Yeah.
2nd grade or 3rd grade. No, it was 3rd grade. I officially didn't have a girlfriend. I was single.
Oh. Yeah,
and
I started in like 4th grade was when it was like a big deal.
Right.
Yeah,
but always. 3rd grade is when I realized I was ugly, and I had no self-esteem.
Oh,
yeah.
As early as that.
Yeah.
You know, those 4th grade girls can just be bitches, though. So
3rd grade.
3rd grade girls, they can just be bitches.
But man, there's something about that though, that lack of self-esteem and that lack of meaning in your life, even at such a young age, that makes you
getting it at a young age. I get that you get it, but it's sticking. Well, because everybody growing up gets those, but it actually glomming on and becoming a part of your personality seems like it's a little, I don't know, seems a little rough growing up now with that notch. When my notch was always like, I'm loud and obnoxious, I know that, and everybody hates me for it.
Yeah.
So my notch was never, I'm ugly, it was always, I'm loud, and parents don't want me around their kids.
My folks always talked about me with that word obnoxious.
Yeah.
But that's not anything I ever identified with.
Really? No, I wouldn't put you near me or even my friends. Like my best friend in high school, you were quite compared to both me and him.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the thing I always identified with though was that lack of self-esteem and that feeling shitty. Feeling lame by comparison. And so my drive to perform and my drive to succeed in performing has always been about wanting people to like me as a person. And that's been a thing, that's not something that showed up and then went away and then came back and
it's always been there.
It's been a constant.
So with your wanting of so you're not just stage. All right, quick question. Post high school, how many stage plays have you been in?
Oh, fuck, 40?
40 post high school?
Yeah.
Okay, then post college, you're still doing 1 to 2 a year now, right?
I haven't done one in over a year.
I thought that, yeah. but
But like I graduated college for my theater degree specifically in 2014.
you graduated?
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I got my bachelor's in theater in 2014. And I got my associates in graphic design technology in 2015.
Okay. Wow. And so yeah, so you've been constantly doing plays since it, but I know at least my interpretation of you, you can go ahead and tell me I'm wrong.
Sure.
But I always thought your greater passion was actually voice acting over stage acting. Am I wrong?
You're wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because maybe it's because I love voice acting.
Sure.
Yeah.
My greatest passion is actually film acting.
Okay.
Yeah. I've always wanted to be in movies,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm not attractive enough. I'm not like a movie star. Like,
Well, there's a difference between movie stars, but character actors traditionally are never attractive.
right. But in my mind, I'm not a Bradley Cooper. I'm more of a Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, but Steve Buscemi's awesome.
He is awesome, but he's ugly, right?
Yeah.
He's never the star of a movie.
He's a weird looking
He's
dude.
never once been the star of a movie.
Well, sure, but not like Hollywood blockbusters. He's stars of little indie films.
Yeah, but
you're perfect for a little indie film.
Other than memers, who knows Steve Buscemi's name?
Sure.
Memers. That's
No,
it.
I mean, I think Buscemi's a bad example because he's in so many things.
Yeah,
but
he's
even
ugly.
but even he ran freaking Boardwalk Empire
as the ugly guy,
as the old guy, but
as the ugly guy,
it's the old fat guy.
Yeah,
It's all right.
So we're talking about self-esteem here.
Yep.
My self-esteem has always been low. I'm sure Steve Buscemi's got low self-esteem too.
I think Steve Buscemi isn't a bad-looking guy. He's just funny-looking.
Just generally?
I'm doing
just
a Fargo. Yeah, I'm doing a Fargo joke.
Yeah, I know.
Get it?
I caught it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so I realized when I was, like, in puberty that I would never be a movie star.
Yeah. But I feel like that's the thing anyone in Fargo who wants to be an actor does and should realize. Or should. I feel like so many people around here would be like, of course I'm not going to be fucking movie stars.
No, there's so many fucking...
No,
like,
that's why I'm using the word should.
Sure.
Should realize.
Sure.
I think it's a very healthy... Even if you live in LA and you're growing up in LA and you live there now and you're trying to be an actor, it's a healthy realization to realize you're not going to be famous.
Right.
Even if you have if you're an actor's fucking child and you're growing up in LA, which is your best chance, you should still realize there's a pretty good chance you're not going to be a fucking famous actor.
But my point is that I realized I was never going to be like as big as I wanted to be. I was never going to make it. I was never going to be famous. Never going to like me. So I was looking around at other options. I grew up with anime.
Yeah.
I grew up with cartoons in general.
Toonami specifically, right?
Toonami and also Nicktoons and Cartoon
But I mean,
Fridays.
For your anime was mostly Toonami.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Cartoon Network. And when I was a senior in high school, I came across the MySpace profile of Jason Marsden.
Yeah.
Who played Haku in Spirited Away in 2001.
Yep.
2000. And I asked him, hey, Jason Marsden, you're famous, and you're awesome, and you were in Full House, and you were in fucking...
Boy Meets
all
World,
these
right?
things. Yeah, Boy Meets
Yeah,
World.
Boy Meets World. And Eric's friend in the first couple seasons.
Boy Meets World, yeah.
Yeah, back before Eric was weird.
He was also in Step by Step.
He was in Step by Step?
Yeah,
too?
yeah. And
I don't remember him in Full House.
I think his name in Step by Step was JJ. His name
J.
in Full House was Nelson. He was DJ's rich boyfriend. Nelson.
I think I'm getting it.
Later seasons.
Yeah, later seasons.
But anyway, so I asked him, like, I found his profile on MySpace. I sent him a DM. And I said, like, hey, dude, I want to be you. What do I do? He's like, well, if you want to get into cartoon voice acting, move to Texas.
And that's what he did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so I did that my senior year of college. I moved to Texas. And I was planning to drop out and just do that.
Yeah.
Just keep auditioning until I got something.
Well, so he's saying that because so many dubs are done down there, right?
Correct. Yeah. He was privy to that, so he
because he was Gohan. He was Teen Gohan. I thought he was adult Gohan. I thought he did something with
Nope, he wasn't in Dragon Ball Z at all.
Oh, I thought he was.
No, Kyle Hebert was adult Gohan.
Oh, okay.
And I met him at a Minneapolis.
I knew you met adult Gohan at one point.
And he's really awesome, too. By the way, everybody we're talking about right now is amazing. They're awesome. Kyle Hebert and Jason Marsden are two of the coolest people I've ever met in real life. Also, Sean Schemmel, who plays Goku.
Yeah.
I got his email address when I was a senior in high school, And I emailed him, and he is also one of the nicest fucking guys to fans ever.
Well, the funny thing about them, because I watch a lot of YouTube channels about Dragon Ball Z and stuff, and then one guy, Geekdom 101, who then did this big panel. He went to Kamehameha Con in Texas, which is where the big Dragon Ball Z convention was, and he it was like, these guys are so down to earth, they're so this, they're so humble. And it's like, because so many people don't know who they are. That's what, because we as nerds are like Christopher Savage, Sean Schimmel,
right.
But literally 1 out of 100 people know them. If that.
Yeah.
Especially their faces, because you don't see their faces.
Oh, I can recognize Sean Schimmel.
I can't. No. I'm saying 1 out of 100.
However,
would.
I will say, if you put Sean Schimmel and Howard Stern into like a lineup, of like
you wouldn't be able to pick them apart.
I would be like,
Schimmel's fatter face.
Oh fuck.
Howard Stern's got such that.
No, but if you put like
they
an array of photos of each of them,
if Sean Schimmel grew his hair out,
scrambled them together.
If Schimmel grew his hair out,
if the photos were close enough, I would be like, oh shit, what do I do?
Okay, so how was your Texas experience the first time you went down there?
It was rough.
Yeah, because I remember that. I thought you got hit with agoraphobia, something awful.
Yep,
that's what you told me.
Exactly. I had vertigo.
Okay.
So while I was driving down there, I developed anxiety, like really bad anxiety. I had this really bad problem where I was driving down the road, and the road would feel like it was moving close to me.
Weird.
Like how they do in movies, where in Sleepy Hollow.
Literally in the movie Vertigo.
Exactly. Yeah, where it feels like the horizon is moving closer.
Or they're doing the zoom and pan the zoom and move at the same time. The rack focus.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I developed that while I was driving down there. And the problem is that I had suffered a really bad breakup and developed really bad anxiety before that. And like the two like combined, the fear of moving and the shit I went through like combined. Yeah. And long story short, I spent a year living in Texas with constant motion sickness.
Jesus Christ.
Even when I wasn't driving.
And that eventually broke? Or did you move?
No, I got a medication.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So it was actually something. It wasn't psychological. Your head was literally spinning.
It was psychological, but it was based in brain chemistry.
Oh, wow.
So right now I'm on a medication that helps me with my anxiety, and it makes me not.
So anxiety literally gave you motion sickness.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yep.
Like anxiety makes me fart.
Really?
Yeah, no, honestly, if I'm anxious, I fart a lot.
That's weird. I didn't know that.
No. I don't get anxious a lot.
Anxiety does one of two things to me. It either gives me heart palpitations or it makes me nauseous.
Jesus. I do think like of all the things to be plagued with, like I think the two worst, like throw sadness where you want it and throw like whatever. I think being an angry person is because I suffer from that, not a lot, but I do suffer from that where I get stressed and just, and most people are like, what? Why? You're fine. And I think that and anxiety are like literally like they're they're the worst things to be plagued by.
There's a phobia, I think it's called hermetophobia, where you're afraid of throwing up.
Mm-hmm.
I have that.
Ugh.
I've had that my whole life.
And you're anxious,
I
hope I don't throw up today. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ.
So, like, a lot of my anxiety, my entire life has been based on me throwing up.
Ugh.
Even when I was, like, a child. Like, the idea of me throwing up any tiny, like, flicker in my stomach, I'm immediately worried because I'm going to throw up.
all right, let me give you a normal person. Somebody who doesn't suffer from that perspective is, I only get that when it's happening. I'm always like, why did I forget this is so horrible?
Right.
I never think about it, but when I throw up, I
might throw up today. Holy shit.
Jesus.
Yeah, and so combine that with nausea, and you've got like a fucking...
I ain't getting out of bed.
No, it's called a positive feedback loop. Where you've got reactors and receptors fucking feeding back into each other.
Pushing it up.
Exactly.
Yeah, making it worse.
Yeah, amplifying the signal. And so
horrible.
that was my experience living in Texas, other than the fact that I met a fucking ton of amazing people.
Yeah.
Had some incredible food.
Yeah.
And experienced some of the best climate I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. And sadly, you spent some of that fucking dealing with anxiety. That sucked.
Yeah, I spent a lot of it in my room, in my apartment, at home, doing nothing.
Sucks.
Playing Pokemon.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
at least something good came out of it.
Right.
And I would talk to you a lot during that time, right? We stay contact.
On Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, on Facebook throughout that time.
Yep.
I was dealing with a beginning of a relationship for a lot of it. And, my work schedule, I was dealing with work, so I'm sure I didn't talk to you as much as I probably fucking should have. But, all right, and we're getting close to wanting to call it. What else should we hit? Should we just stick with
part 2 at some point because we barely.
We barely got into shit, and that's what I love about these talks is you realize once you actually break into how complex your life is, how you can barely get 1% of it done if you're actually saying it out loud. But now on dealing with anxiety, which I feel like this is such a horrible thing to say, but it's only something that I'm sure somebody who's really good friends with you can say.
Sure.
Is I literally now pair you with anxiety. And I do this with a couple people because I don't really suffer from it at all. So with that, what do you work on? Is there literally like a thing where you can do or you say or you work where it's like helps you through being anxious every single day? But or is it just medication, or is it like, because with dealing with anger, which I deal with a lot, it's the, I have the breathe, get out of the situation, what the hell is wrong with me, and I literally try to work through it. Is there with that or what is anxiety, just period?
Sure. Well, I would define anxiety as the general feeling, and feeling is such a fucking vague term, but the general indication that something is wrong and that something is about to be wrong.
And something isn't right. Yeah, just...
No. Something is wrong now, and something bad is about to happen. And it's going to
get worse.
Yeah. And the feeling is that you can't do anything about it. Just brace yourself and get ready for it.
And this is something you usually deal with or constantly deal with? Or
it's something I constantly deal with. Okay. It wasn't nearly this bad when I was in high school. It got bad when I was in college. It got worse later
in college. Yeah.
And over the last year, I've been dealing with it getting really bad again.
Yeah.
Where I got to a brief respite from it, and then it got bad again.
Well, I remember, I'd say, end of the summer, I think, was the worst time. It was every time I talked to you, I thought it was like, I felt like I had to hug you every moment. I felt like it was getting really bad.
Last year.
Yeah, last year. I think beginning of this last summer, or end of the last summer.
Sure.
This summer, whenever it was. But
I went through a really bad breakup.
Yeah, and then that was the beginning of the summer was a bad breakup. And then I think around then, but I remember throughout the summer, maybe I just didn't deal with it because I was working and getting married. Mm-hmm. So I didn't notice.
Sure.
But it was really the end of the summer. I really felt like, I was like, Billy, something's got to be done. Like, I feel like you were just living with so many demons on all of your shoulders.
Yeah.
And it was really bad. And I feel like it's gotten better now, or maybe I'm just ignoring you. I don't know.
No, and honestly, I would actually really love to continue this conversation, but I really need a cigarette.
Did that question make you anxious?
A little bit, yeah.
Sorry.
But no. I really want to continue this conversation.
Can you give me 3 more minutes?
Sure.
All right, let's do 3 more minutes. Talk at me for 3 minutes, and then I'll cut you off.
What the fuck?
I'm kidding.
What kind of prompt is that?
There we go. I got nothing now.
You want to talk about why I'm anxious? Or?
Yeah. I don't know how to ask you about it because I really, it's an alien thing. It's not
something you relate to.
It's not something I relate to. Sure. No. So I honestly don't know how to ask you about anxiety.
Okay. I've mentioned self-esteem several times.
Yeah.
During this conversation.
Yes.
And one of the things about self-esteem is that some people can derive it from within, and some people never develop that. Some people derive their self-esteem from external sources. They develop it from other people.
Yeah.
And my biggest downfalls in self-esteem have always come from external sources. They've always come from other people putting me down. And my first big downfall in self-esteem was from an ex-girlfriend. My second biggest downfall from self-esteem was from an ex-girlfriend. And my third was also from an ex-girlfriend. Mm-hmm. It's people who treat you like you're less than other people, and it makes you feel less than other people.
Okay.
Because you haven't developed that ability to derive your self-worth from within. You're not able to say, that person fucked up because they fucked me over. You're saying I fucked up because that person fucked me over.
Yeah, and it's the your self-esteem and what were we saying? Where you derive it from? Is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Might not completely equip you with the weapons you need to deal with something like a bad breakup.
Right.
And that's so sure they suck because it was a bad breakup, but a lot of it was not being able to handle it.
Yeah, you shoulder a lot of the burden.
Yeah.
That the other person, the responsibility the other person isn't willing to shoulder. Like,
yeah.
Like the way I see it,
you feel it 100%.
Right.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to like psychoanalyze the situation or whatever, the way I see it is that the other person didn't take responsibility for what they did to me, so I have to take that responsibility because that responsibility doesn't just go away.
Yeah.
Somebody has to take care of that.
I feel like you just think too much.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You should be a simpleton. So take like a donkey kick to the head.
Right, exactly.
And fix all of your problems.
I just need to be retarded.
Yeah, no, honestly, it might help. Because I'm not a very smart person, and I'm happy all the time. But I think this is a great conversation. I actually wish it was longer. Yeah. So I'm sorry we're cutting it off.
We'll do a part 2 at some point.
We'll do a part 2 at some point. Who knows? Maybe we'll just do a different version of this one day. Who knows? I don't know what's up. But anyways, that was Billy Schnase. This was the first time we recorded anything. And you guys have a fantastic day. You want to say anything?
Yeah, if you get a chance, check out 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos by Dr. Jordan B. Peterson. Dr. Jordan B. Peterson on audible.com.
And if you get a chance, hug someone today. All right, bye. There you guys have it. That was my conversation with Billy Schnase. Been my best friend for a long time, and it was a very good conversation. We cracked up a lot of eggs, and for somebody who you've been talking to, or who I've been talking to for 10 years, and you can still learn things about them, that was very good. That's exactly what I wanted out of that talk. So, there you guys go. We'll see you next week. I'll be talking to Rich Early from Paradox Comics and Cards, and I'm excited for you guys to see that one too. So, watch out, and don't get murdered. Bye.